Okay, we can also compare things by using the superlative. Before we were saying that one is more interesting, older, younger, but we might want to say that something is the biggest, the oldest, the nicest, etc. So we use this form when we want to stress the superiority of something or someone against all others. So Lima es la ciudad más grande del Perú. So when we do that, we use the article and the más menos. El Amazonas es el río más caudaloso de Perú. ¿Cuál es la ciudad más grande de Perú? When it is clear from the context, we do not need to mention the other. So, ¿cuál es la ciudad más grande de Perú? Lima es la más grande. We don't have to mention city again, we just say es la más grande. Which is the largest city in Peru? Lima is the largest. So when we do this, when we want to mention of what category, so for example, here we've got agradable, which is what we're comparing. So when we want to mention the category that we have the nicest climate, we want to do, you want to put your article, and your article, then your category, el clima más agradable de toda la región. So tenemos el clima más agradable de toda la región, or tenemos el más agradable de toda la región. If there had been a question that said, what is your climate like? You might say it's the nicest of the entire region. Then you can leave out the clima part, but you still would make your article agree with your category. So it would still agree with clima even if we left it out. So we could say this, el más agradable if we knew what we were talking about, or el clima más agradable de toda la región. So te voy a enseñar the most important center of business that we have. So then I would say, te voy a enseñar el centro de negocios más importante que tenemos. And so that should be centro. Sorry, hold on a minute. El centro de negocios más importante que tenemos. And when we're putting in the noun, like el centro and el clima, our agradable and our importante need to agree with the noun that they're describing. So what's most important is the centro, and so it needs to be importante. La contaminación is the least serious problem of the city. So I would say el problema menos grave de la ciudad. Jardines bellos, so they are the most beautiful gardens that there are around here. So estos son los jardines más bellos que hay por aquí. And it's bellos because what's beautiful are the jardines, which is plural. Notice how this is plural and this one's singular because problema is singular. Todos los turistas quieren alojarse en los hoteles más acogedores de la ciudad. Okay, so los turistas quieren alojarse in the most friendliest or most welcoming hotels in the city, and it's acogedores to match with hoteles. So me parece que este es el barrio más peligroso del país. So, in my opinion, or it appears to me that the neighborhood, that this is the most dangerous neighborhood in all of the country. So peligroso agrees with barrio. Vamos a ver los rascacielos más modernos que tenemos en la ciudad. So you want to make your article agrees with the category of which you're making the comparison, and then the adjective of which you're making that superlative, it needs to agree with the noun that it's describing. So it's modernos because we're talking about rascacielos. Okay, we can also make comparisons of like things, and it gets a little complicated here. We use tanto plus noun plus como when we're comparing a noun. So that would be like this activity over here. And you would want your tanto to agree with your noun. So if you look, all of these are nouns. Okay, so when you're using the noun form, you're going to use a form of tanto, and it has to agree with the noun. Actually, let me move this up just a little bit. So I just move that up just a teeny bit. Okay, so if it's problemas, problema is actually masculine, so what you would plug in here is tantos. That's how you'd say las dos grandes ciudades tienen tantos problemas. They both have a lot of problems. Las dos grandes ciudades tienen clima. Clima is also masculine, so you'd say tanto clima. Okay, so actually I read the directions wrong on this activity. I'll explain it in a minute. But when you do have a noun, you do want to use tanto and como with the noun, and these are actually the ones we should have been looking at. So we want to say the suburbs have as many traffic jams as the center, and when you do that, what you're going to say is you're going to put tanto, and then you're going to put your noun, embotellamientos, and then you're going to put como, okay? But your tanto needs to agree with the noun that you're making the comparison of. This embotellamientos is the noun, and so we would use tantos here. So that's how you would say that the suburbs have as many traffic jams as the downtown area. And here it would be the same thing. Nuestra ciudad has as much noise as other cities. Noise is ruido. You would put nuestra ciudad. Oh, hold on. Los suburbios, sorry, tienen tantos embotellamientos como el centro. En nuestra ciudad tiene, then we have tanto ruido como, and then what we're comparing is ruido, so we just want to double check again that our tanto agrees with ruido, which this time it does, so I don't need to change it. You can also compare adjectives, and when you compare adjectives, you use tan. So el hotel es tan céntrico como el albergue. So when you do that, you're going to do tan, adjective, como, and there is no spelling change for tan. You're just going to use tan every time. La hija, we've got an adjective again. La hija is tan responsable como la madre. Los transportes son tan importantes como la vivienda. Okay, here's another activity that shows this. Luis pagó 150 por el celular. El celular de Luis costó $150. Luis pagó. When you want to compare a verb, here I'm saying that he paid as much. That's when you do tanto como. And there is no, in this case, there is no agreement. It's always tanto como when we use a verb. So when we want to say we're comparing the amount that somebody spent or the amount that somebody ate. If you have a verb, you're going to do tanto como written together. So it'd be Luis pagó tanto como Luisa. That's what you would put there. Ana tiene 5 nietos. Su mejor amiga también tiene 5 nietos. Ana tiene, she has as many. We're comparing a noun here. We're saying they have as many. And so when we're comparing a noun, that's when our tanto becomes an adjective, and we can use tanto, tanta, tantos, tantas. Since I'm comparing nietos, I need tantos. Tantos nietos como su mejor amiga. Este semestre tomo 5 clases. Mi hermana también toma 5 clases. Mi hermana toma. Again, we're comparing a noun. I'm saying I have as many classes as. So when we're using tanto as an adjective to describe a noun, I have to make it agree. Classes is plural and it's feminine. So I use tantas. Tantas clases como yo. En mi opinión, el profesor Martínez y la profesora Torres son muy inteligentes. El profesor es Professor Martinez is. Here I'm comparing an adjective. When I compare adjectives, it's just tan. Tan inteligente como la profesora Torres. Como la profesora Torres. En la fiesta, Steven bailó con Pilar por 2 horas sin parar. Pilar bailó as much as Esteban. That's when you put tanto como, because I'm comparing the amount of dancing that they did. I'm not comparing how intelligent they are or how many classes they have. I'm comparing how much they each danced. Okay. You can also do lo mismo. I don't think that's on here, but this particular activity talks about lo mismo, lo misma. So las dos ciudades tienen los mismos. That's how you can say the same problems. Las dos grandes ciudades tienen el mismo clima. Las dos grandes ciudades tienen el mismo tamaño. So I'm making my mismo agree with the noun that it's describing. I'm turning mismo into an adjective, and then my article also has to agree with the noun that's being described. So everything's got to agree with problemas, clima, tamaño, delincuencia, that's feminine, so I'm going to say la misma delincuencia. Calidad de vida, that's also feminine, so I'm going to say la misma calidad de vida. Tradiciones is feminine, it's plural, so las dos grandes ciudades tienen las mismas tradiciones. Okay, so hopefully that explains superlatives to you guys.